Here's the 30-second lesson on what legends know. Never practice nunchucks in a crowded room. Never eat chole before a road trip. Always take your shirt off before you iron it. Don't take a call near a swimming pool. And don't forget, saving is not investing. Legends don't just save, they invest in mutual funds. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
We are now, and apologies for using that terrible metaphor, we are thick into the pollution season. This is when air quality in North India is probably the worst in the world. North India, you can also see parts of Pakistan, the worst in the world. When you see the global rankings of the most polluted cities, you will find cities in North India. It's not just Delhi, it's all over North India and in Pakistan as well, among the most polluted cities for a combination of factors. And this is when everybody comes out with their solutions as well. Right now, it's Diwali, so ban Diwali patakas. Ban Diwali patakas, that becomes an issue. Then the other side would say, one side will say ban Diwali patakas. The other side will say, why ban Diwali patakas? Other people, other faiths do stuff on their festivals. Why should only the Hindus be restricted? So BJP MP Manoj Tiwari has said that if they come to power in Delhi, they lift the pataka ban. The Aam Aadmi Party, on the other hand, is enforcing a pataka ban. It's with it. And Arvind Kejriwal is making appeals to people to use diyas instead of patakas. So that becomes a thing. Then stubble burning will become a thing. Then automobiles will become a thing. Somebody would say even odd for automobiles. Somebody else will say criminalize burning of stubble. However, this is a very complex problem. This is a very complex problem with very complex results. If you see the latest report of the Lancet, this is titled the 2024 report of the Lancet Countdown on Health and Climate Change. So mainly it's about climate change, but it also has something on the damage that pollution is doing to India. And it says that in 2021, India lost 16 lakh lives just to air pollution. 16 lakh lives. Now, this was also the year of the Delta wave of COVID, so I don't know how one mixes with the other, and we haven't yet seen the data, the statistical data from Government of India on deaths in that year, because that is somehow a sensitive issue, but it will come out at some point. However, Lancet attributes 16 lakh deaths in India only to air pollution. This also tells us that India is the second largest producer of particulate matter, that is PM 2.5 microns, which is the most damaging to our lungs because it's small enough to get into our bloodstream and stays there forever and causes all kinds of problems, including diabetes, stroke, cancer, of course, with lots and lots of respiratory tract problems and also lung problems as well. India is the second highest. Who's the highest? It looks like Bangladesh has that pride of place for producing the highest per capita PM 2.5 micron suspended particulate matter. But India is the second highest, a very close second, which is very damaging from India's point of view. 15.8% of all of global PM 2.5, that's based on consumption, and 16.9% of all of the global PM 2.5, which is based on production. What is the difference? I will explain to you. When you make a car, you emit. The PM 2.5 you emit while making a car is 2.5 emission attributable to production. Then you drive that car. When you drive that car, you burn fuel, then you release more PM. That PM is consumption based. So both in consumption based and production based emission of PM 2.5, the worst particulate matter, India has about 16% of all of the world's contribution. That's a lot, and that's why it's a big problem. It's not a problem. It's not a problem that can be resolved by what I also called in a 2017 national interest, from which I will also draw something like a line from Raj Kapoor's Bobby in 1973, where Dimple Kapadia pleads with Rishi Kapoor in Lata Mangeshkar's voice, "Mujhe kuch कहना है, I must tell you something. And Rishi Kapoor responds in Shailendra Singh's voice, मुझे भी कुछ कहना है. Even I must tell you something. So it tugs at your heartstrings as teenagers bear their love in Anand Bakshi's subtle lyrics. There is, however, nothing subtle about the phenomenon that we keep analyzing year after year after year about pollution in all of India, but particularly in North India, which is really killing us. Even if you hear my voice from month to month, you know which month it is and you can judge your SPM level and pollution with that. Although I work in an environment filled with air purifiers. There is, however, nothing subtle about the phenomenon that we are analyzing by twisting these famous lines, replacing कहना with karna. So, when faced with a serious crisis, even a grave national emergency, every year, like North India's murderous air quality, our response usually is echoing Dimple's "Mujhe kuch karna hai," I must do something about it, right? I've replaced कहना with karna. The rest of us in the larger governance elite, judiciary, activists, bureaucracy, even the media, and the smartest of all of us, the politicians, then become Rishi Kapoor's मुझे भी कुछ करना है. Everybody then does her something, solves her conscience or his conscience. The media conjures up glorious headlines and talking heads declare victory. Google and check how many times, especially post Diwali and in the winter months, drastic one-shot solutions have been announced and hailed as a brave death blow to smog. There is no effort to research and address the larger problem. It takes too long. Real solutions aren't sexy. They require too much time and onerous hard work. Yet, you can't be seen to be doing nothing about this emergency. So let's at least do something. No harm if it gives me an opportunity to ride my own pet hobby horse or slay my own favorite demon. Because when I have done my something, my responsibility is over. You can meanwhile buy that air purifier which costs more than an air conditioner these days and keep that steroid inhaler handy. And if you can't afford these, then gasp and, for heaven's sake, pray. Let me give you a quick recounting of some headline-grabbing things that our champion smog slayers have done in the last many years. Somebody has banned all vehicles beyond a certain age in the capital. Another has cracked down on diesel. A pollution tax has been levied on heavy trucks entering the city. Work stoppage has been ordered at construction sites on a whim. Water spraying ordered. Households summarily fined rupees 50,000 no less for leaving debris on the curbside. An odd even scheme for cars has been routinely implemented with endless fanfare on TV channels sponsored by air purifier brands. Don't forget. And now the sale of firecrackers is banned and it's again a political issue. How much better is our air quality as a result? Check the readings on your air filter. They've only gotten worse year upon year. There is no doubt that the activist judiciary complex that rose in the mid-1990s, the year of Supreme Court's Mr. Justice Environment Kuldeep Singh and PIL warrior MC Mehta, has made a real contribution. Its high point was the successful shifting of the capital's public and commercial transport to CNG. It brought about a phenomenal improvement in air quality, but this benefit peaked a decade and a half back. Much that has followed since then is gimmicky, thoughtless, arrogant, dictatorial, something on the lines of we the activists, judges and friends in the media know what is best for you. So we order and you follow. On fear of contempt of court, ask no questions, seek no accountability. Meanwhile, also learn to nebulize your children. Delhi's air is a desperate problem. In fact, North India's air is a desperate problem. But some of the solutions have been too desperate and unthinking. For example, the overnight shifting of all of Delhi's cottage industry to outlying areas like Bhavana, with no time, patience or commitment to build infrastructure, physical or human. Industry and jobs were moved out before public transport and housing could fetch up. So the result was job losses, spawning of new slums, and illegal housing sprawls built by land grab mafias and simply shifting the capital's pollution from its relatively core areas to the outskirts. But remember, it's the same air. There was insufficient thought to the kind of industry Delhi should have and on a policy to move in that direction. Funny, the belief that one privileged community can load its pollution onto a lesser one. That poison-laden air does not respect municipal or even national boundaries was a lesson we were taught by that father of modern environmental activism, Lester Brown, in his Bible on the issue, World Without Borders, published in 1972. In fact, one example of the acknowledgement of this world without borders is also something that Maryam Nawaz, the Chief Minister of Pakistani Punjab, has said, where she said that she wants to engage with Indian Punjab on the pollution question because both have the stubble burning issue. In 2015, Aam Aadmi Party, a party of former activists, took power in Delhi. It was quick to see the opportunity to shift from its old anti-corruption agenda to anti-pollution, pollution of one kind or to the other, and took Gimmicky to another plane altogether. I had compiled a bunch of facts with the help of my colleague Rajgopal Singh. Then, first, it announced the so-called odd-even scheme, which made no difference to air quality. Then followed with the promise of installation of 5 giant air purifiers, a mist fountain, and a virtual chimney in the most polluted areas. It was done on trial basis in October 2016. What's happened to this? Please tell me. There were other promises, mechanized vacuum sweeping up Delhi's roads. Have you seen it lately? Except in Lutyens, Delhi. And this was to be done to reduce dust, which is our nastiest lung destroyer. The Environment Pollution Control Authority, EPCA, the Supreme Court, the National Green Tribunal, meanwhile, kept doing their own thing, passing so many orders on vehicles, on which vehicles and fuels you would need, that you would call McKinsey to make sense of these. A reading of the comprehensive EPCA report submitted to Supreme Court on 1st February 2017 is revealing, especially the section on status report on implementation of Supreme Court orders, that is pages 14 to 20 of that report. Even more instructive is the report EPCA submitted on 4th April 2017, detailing the Supreme Court's action plan on the capital smog. It is well-meaning, comprehensive, and would usher in the perfect world. But it is impossible to implement short of a revolution. Or let me push the envelope, even after a full revolution, it has steps that will be binding on at least 24 agencies of the center and several states besides indeed Delhi. It will have implications on budgets, which is to buy thousands more buses and create special corridors for them, fuel taxes, control agriculture or restrictions on agriculture in adjoining and distant states, Haryana and Punjab, municipal and civic operations. If you read each point of such a plan and the agency tasked for compliance, you will see that the least it will take to implement it is a full-time Supreme Court bench, or maybe the entire Supreme Court sitting on a daily basis with no vacations with a dozen empowered committees to oversee everything. It's an impossibility. With the greatest respect, we have to say that while this made brilliantly a reassuring reading, it wasn't going to happen, and it hasn't happened. A crucial fact check: no new buses have been bought in Delhi after the surge during the Commonwealth Games in 2010, barring a few hundred every now and then, which are now electric buses. But in hundreds, not in tens, not in several thousands that Delhi needs. The Metro Phase 3 was delayed by more than a year, and even the plan for Phase 4 was delayed by a full 4 years until things could get started. The whole mess is what we might call a dog's breakfast, which even gods can't unscramble. It's harsh, but not speaking the truth would be cowardly and dishonest to our children's lungs and ours, which are not getting younger. These committees, created as a result of the MC Mehta PIL beginning 1985. I was 28 years old. These have done a stellar job, but have now outlived their utility. Now they are bored, tired and repetitive, as is NGT, as are the various court benches, as are the activists, and as is the bureaucracy, which also works even now with a sense of entitlement. Now EPCA, the Bhurilal committee, after passing its 20 years, it sort of faded away, which is a good thing because it had outlived its utility and raison d'etre. That committee worked through the tenure of 17 Chief Justices of India. All that would have been fine if meanwhile our air quality had improved. It's time, therefore, I said this 7 years back, I'm saying it again, I might have said it several times in the middle as well. It's time, even now, nothing is too lost because you have to begin at some point of time. It's time that the center set up a new empowered political authority under the Prime Minister at the PMO, including all concerned chief ministers, set targets for it and hold them accountable. It's time also, I say with the greatest humility, for the courts to get off the curb. They have done a lot, but why let the executive pass the buck to them, sit back and then mock the ineffectuality of their act? I know there was a lot of opinion in this episode, but you know what? When something is hurting you so much, anybody you care for, which is a lot of people, several generations of Indians, almost, in fact, more than 500 million Indians in this highly populated North India, and this has a knock-on effect on the rest of the country as well. Then you can't just respond to it with usual analysis. You have to let your views be known, and the stronger these are, the better.